Hello there everybody, in this video we are gonna take a look at how to bake and how to transfer maps from one mesh to another. So before that, don't forget to like and subscribe, and that's it. Essentially they are gonna be the same thing, but the only thing that we're gonna need to have is the original mesh or meshes and the new mesh. Well, and there is another thing actually, because we're gonna need to change to cycles because Eevee does not support baking, at least not yet. With cycles enabled, we can go all the way down here and we're gonna see that now there is this bake panel. With that setup, we're gonna go to the shading tab right here, and then we are going to create a new texture. And this new texture, you can choose the size that you want, the name that you want. And one thing that we need to have in mind is that if this is going to be a color texture, so for example a color or emission, then we have to keep it as sRGB. Otherwise we are gonna change it to non-color. Okay, now we have to make sure that this is the only texture that is active. So take a look at all the materials that you have and see if you don't have any other texture that is selected. Just keep the one that you created as the active texture. Now for the baking slash transfer procedure, what we're gonna need to do is, first of all, we are gonna need to select all the original meshes, and after that we are going to select the new mesh at last, so it's going to be the active one. Now we're gonna go to that bake panel and we're going to toggle this selected to active on. And after that we are going here and we are going to increase the extrusion value and also the ray distance. In case that we are just transferring the textures from one mesh to another mesh and those two meshes they are equal, you don't need to make this distance too big. Just a small value like this one should be fine. In the end, if you find some problems, you can come back here and increase these values, and that should fix it. If it doesn't, most likely it's because you are using a complex mesh or a group of meshes, and for those cases it's best to use a cage. Now for the baking type, if we are not dealing with normal maps, we are going to change this here to emit. And another thing that we're gonna need to do is to go to the material and check the texture that you want to transfer or bake into this new UV that you have, and we are gonna need to plug it directly into the output of the material. If you're using the Node Wrangler, the only thing that you need to do is to press Ctrl Shift and click the texture. Now if you are transferring the normal map, then you have to keep it the same way that you had it before, so the material is coming out of the principled BSDF shader directly into the output, or the way that your material is set up, and then we're going to change the bake type to normal. Now with that setup we can come all the way up here and change the number of samples that you're gonna use. You don't need a really high value. In some cases, if you use like one sample, it's already gonna be good. So use it, try and see what is actually gonna be good for you, but don't need to make it a high value. Now, the only thing that we need to do is to go back to the baking panel and press the bake button. Basically now the only thing that we need to do is to check if the texture was baked or transferred correctly, and if it didn't transfer correctly, we need to change the settings that we set previously and repeat it. Alright, that's it for this video. If you still have some problems, leave a comment down here and I'll try to help you as much as I can. And if you go all the way here, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!